right, we will gavel in the June 12th meeting of the Animal Control Advisory Board. First thing is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so as we always do, we read the duty and functions of the board. We make recommendations to the chief administrator, of the Office of Emergency Management regarding animal care and regulation consistent with Florida statutes and Chapter 20 of the Seminole County Code. These recommendations must first be approved by the majority of the Animal Control Board prior to submission to the chief administrator of the Office of Emergency Management. The Animal Control Board shall meet at least 3 times per year. Special meetings may be called by the chairman, the vice chairman, or by any 3 members of the board upon 48 hours notice to all members and to the Animal Control Office and Chief Administrator of Emergency Management, and the majority of Animal Control Board shall constitute a quorum. Pursuant to Florida law, the public has a right to be heard on all propositions. Public comment time on propositions shall be 3 minutes for individuals and 6 minutes for group representatives. The public will be provided an opportunity to be heard on non-agenda items at the end of the meeting. Proper decorum will be observed. So we can have a roll call, please.
Sergeant John Monk.
Present.
Present. John McGrath.
Present.
Present. Brian Wilson.
Present.
Present. Gail Hare.
Present.
Present. Dr. Viz.
Present.
Present. Tracy Fleming. Present. Present. And Kathy Hood.
Present.
Present. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Okay, great. Did everyone have an opportunity to review the minutes from the last meeting? Any comments, questions, revisions, enhancements? Okay, do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Accept.
All right, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and so passes. Okay, old business. At the last meeting, I had mentioned the possibility of adding the rabbits to the current ordinance we have for the retail sale of dogs and cats.
Yes, Chairman.
We're going to take it up with the...
Absolutely. Andrew Lanius, County Attorney's Office. I'm happy to be with you all this evening. Just interrupt me if you guys have any questions, and I'm going to go through some PowerPoints. And so, as the chairman said, you guys left me with a little bit of a homework assignment. You can go ahead and do it. What do I push? Can you do it?
I'll do it. I got it.
You're the Okay, perfect. You guys left me with a little bit of a homework assignment to see whether or not it would be, let's say, legal to ban the sale of rabbits within the county. I suggested at the time that I would want to do a little bit of research because I just didn't know off the top of my head, and I thought there might be a food security issue. And I'm going to go through the slides, and I'll hopefully answer you guys' questions. And then I'll talk about what some other jurisdictions are doing, just so we can see these ordinances in action. So, is it within Seminole County's legal authority to ban the sale of rabbits? And if so, could such be accomplished by amending Section 20.182 Seminole County Code of Ordinances, which currently states in part, quote, "No pet shop shall offer dogs or cats in Seminole County unless the dog or cat was obtained from an animal shelter or an animal rescue organization." Go ahead, flip the next slide. Yes, Seminole County does have the legal authority to ban the sale of rabbits. I repeat, yes, Seminole County does have the legal authority. Does it not work? Oh, okay. Legal authority to ban the sale of rabbits. Did you give up too, Lauren?
It's too far. It's too far from the.
Oh, okay, oh, good. There is nothing in the Constitution, the federal Constitution, the state Constitution, nothing, no Florida statutes that preempt the county from banning the sale of rabbits. It would be completely legal. Any proposed Seminole County ordinance that does intend to ban the sale of rabbits, whether permanently or at certain times of the year, must be rationally related to a legitimate government purpose. Animal welfare would certainly cover that. And that's one of the lesser scrutinies that these types of legislations will go through. So yes, the answer to your guys' question was yes. Before I move on, does anybody have any further questions regarding that piece of it? All right, perfect. Now, next slide. What do...
What was it? Gail had a question.
Okay.
The section about selling cats and dogs at a pet shop.
The section from the current Seminole County Code, that was, can we go back one? That was cited?
The animals need to come from the shelter or rescue.
Mm-hmm.
Will the rabbits be the same way?
Well, I mean, with legislation, it depends on what you write. So nothing has been written now, so I'm only speaking hypothetically as what is possible. It certainly, I think the answer to your question, can we wait until the end? Because I think it might be answered in some of the other jurisdictions. All right, so what do other jurisdictions throughout the state do regarding the sale of rabbits? My understanding and my position would be all of these are legal. Theoretically, a municipality could pass a law that's not legal. These are all legal and successfully and appropriately passed. All right, Orange County, Florida. Section 5.53 Orange County Code, quote, "It shall be a violation of this section for a pet store to engage in the retail sale of any dog, cat, or rabbit. Nothing in this section shall prevent a pet store from providing space and appropriate shelter, food, or care for animals owned by any rabbit rescue organization or animal shelter to display dogs, cats, and/or rabbits for adoption. A pet store that provides space for the adoption of dogs, cats, and/or rabbits shall post in a conspicuous location on the cage or enclosure of each such animal a sign stating the name of the animal rescue organization or animal shelter which owned the dog, cat, and/or rabbit offered for adoption. Lastly, it shall be a violation of this section for a pet store to have any ownership interest in any dog, cat, or rabbit displayed for adoption." Does that answer your question? So I think that is what they did. So they, like the Seminole County Code states, if you're going to sell a dog or a cat, it has to essentially be a homeless dog or a cat. The Orange County just did similar ordinance, different wording, but similar ordinance, and they threw rabbits in there as well. So we theoretically could do that if the elected officials wanted to. All right, Orange County, Florida continued. And now I broadened this out a little bit because banning the sale of rabbits I feel is similar to like people who dye the rabbits. 'Cause why would you dye a rabbit? You dye it to sell it. So there might be prohibitions on dyeing rabbits as well. I thought that might be prudent to also discuss. So Section 550 of the Orange County Code states, it is a Category 3 violation. Please don't ask me what that means, but it's some sort of violation in their code. Of this article for the owner or keeper of any domestic animal to dye or color artificially any animal or fowl, including but not limited to rabbits, baby chickens, or ducklings. So in Orange County, on top of you can't sell a rabbit, you would have to sell a homeless rabbit. You can't dye rabbits either, even if you weren't selling it. So if I owned a rabbit and I dyed it, that would theoretically be a violation of the Orange County Code. Furthermore, it is a Category 3 violation of this article for the owner or keeper of any domestic animal to sell, offer for sale, or give away for purposes of premiums, pets or toys, any baby chicken, duckling, or other fowl under 4 weeks of age, or rabbit under 2 months of age. So in addition, Orange County bans even providing me handing a rabbit of a certain age to somebody, whether or not it's sold or not. All right. Furthermore, moving to Hillsborough County. Section 6.66 Hillsborough County Code states, ban on rabbit sales by commercial retail establishments. There shall be no retail sale of rabbits by any commercial establishment, including a pet retail store. Ban on retail sales in public places. There shall be no retail sale of rabbits on any public thoroughfare, public common areas, or other places of public accommodations, flea markets, festivals, yard sales, medians, parks, recreation areas, outdoor markets, parking lots, parades, concerts, or other similar activities venues, regardless of whether such access is authorized by the owner. Exemptions are animal shelters, rescue organizations, local breeders, agriculture or industry sales, rabbit fanciers, and direct person-to-person sales. Moving on to Pasco County, prohibition on the retail sale of dogs, cats, and rabbits. Any retail establishment, including a pet store, shall not sell, deliver, offer for sale, barter, auction, give away, or otherwise transfer or dispose of a dog, cat, or rabbit. Prohibition on sale in public places. Any sale, barter, auction, giving away of dogs, cats, or rabbits are prohibited on any public or private streets and rights of way within 50 feet of any right of way, at any flea market or private parking lots, or any open-air venues, such as, but not limited to, parades, concerts, and festivals. The sale of dogs, cats, and rabbits by a breeder, pet dealer, or large kennel shall only take place at the premises for which the license is issued for, and exemptions would be an animal rescue organization. Move on to Nassau County. Animal sales prohibitions and requirements. Prohibitions. The following acts shall be prohibited by the Nassau County Code. 1, any retail sale of any dog, cat, or rabbit from a commercial establishment. 2, which is much more broad than some of the other ones. 2, any retail sale of any dog, cat, or rabbit from any and all public thoroughfares, public common areas, or flea market sales. Exemptions, animal shelters, local breeders, and agriculture activities. Most of these do have exemption for agriculture. Miami-Dade. It shall be unlawful for any person to possess, sell, or otherwise transfer within the county any dyed or artificially colored rabbit or other animal, baby chicken, duckling, or other fowl. Miami-Dade does not have any further prohibitions on rabbits. So you can't dye, but theoretically one could sell. So that's just not where they have gone with it. Now I'm going to do a little bit of state of Florida discussion because I found that to be interesting as well. So currently, Section 828.1615 Florida statutes states as follows. It is unlawful for any person to dye or artificially color an animal that is under 12 weeks of age or a fowl or rabbit of any age. Similarly, it is unlawful for any person to sell, offer for sale, or give away as merchandising premiums, baby chickens, ducklings, or other fowl under 4 weeks of age, or rabbits under 2 months of age to be used as pets, toys, or other retail premiums. This section does not apply to any animal that is under 12 weeks of age or a fowl or rabbit of any age that is used or raised for agricultural purposes. Lastly, now the next thing I'm going to talk about was not passed. It was a bill that was introduced, and it did not pass the legislature. So the legislature, in their wisdom, decided against it. It died in one of the subcommittees. But I thought it would be important to bring up because these things have a tendency to come back, and it's nice to know where the individual legislatures' minds are at. So, State of Florida continued. A bill, and remember this was not passed, a bill entitled Sale of Rabbits was filed with the state legislature in January of 2024. It did not make it through the legislative process. Such bill, which did not pass, did the following. The sale of rabbits is prohibited on any public or private streets or rights-of-ways within 50 feet of any right-of-way or any flea market, in private parking lots or at any open-air venue, such as a parade, concert, or festival, in retail pet stores during the months of March and April. It is unlawful to sell, offer for sale, or give away as merchandising premium any rabbit under 2 months of age to be used as a pet, toy, or retail premium. Rabbits under 2 months of age may not be kept on premises of a retail pet store. And lastly, I just wanted to see if you guys have any further questions and see if that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Good.
No further questions? Well, I'll zone out then.
No, well, thank you so much for doing the research. We appreciate it.
Sure, of course.
In addition to those works we found, Key West, DeSoto County also have prohibitions on the retail sale of rabbits if you go further out into the state. So there is a trend that the more retail sales that are being passed, they do include the rabbits. Luckily, most of the major pet store chains do not sell rabbits. The reason why this was brought up was because Petco made a public announcement that they were changing their policy towards selling rabbits. And Petcos are literally everywhere. The only major pet store that continues to sell them is Pet Supermarket. And unfortunately, there are 3 of them here in the general Seminole County area that they do sell rabbits, and we actually had contacted them earlier in the week, and they said that yes, they do sell rabbits. They get them about once a week, and so if that's that's potentially up to 150 animals that could be sold every year if they're selling them on a weekly basis. So that was my intention, was we don't want to see animal services become overburdened by the 3rd most popular pet being sold at these retail stores. And it was an opportunity before another organization decides to make a political statement on the change that, hey, let's tighten up our ordinance, let's make a recommendation to Animal Services. Alan Harris and I had spoken about it briefly, and he said, hey, we are welcome to pursue it, let's see where it goes. If it's the board's opinion that is something that is worthwhile, then just adding more rabbits to our currently existing ordinance would be a minor change. I mean, it has to, does have to go through, Alan Harris has to, we have to approve it. Alan Harris would have to approve it, and then the Board of County Commissioners would have to have the 2 readings to get that approved. So it wouldn't be an immediate thing, but it definitely would be, something that I think would be worth pursuing to help keep animal services from doing the job they have to do already.
The rabbits that you see all the time on Facebook, oh, there's a little white rabbit in the woods
Yeah.
by my park. And
The only thing I say, it's not a little minor change when you say, all we got to do is add rabbits, because rabbits do fall under livestock, as I mentioned before. So,
Yeah.
as he mentioned, most of these, they have all these exemptions when it comes to agriculture and things like that.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that there's a trend now, I mean, more and more people are harvesting rabbits for meat. So that's where you're going to find that fine line. We can't just add rabbits and go.
Yeah, no, I mean,
okay.
yeah, we could put rabbits except for agricultural, because this is primarily a retail pet sales, and that's people who are going to buy meat rabbits.
But that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
If we ban all sales of rabbits to include
Yeah.
anything, then we're going to run into an issue where, we're dealing with people that are
Yeah.
essentially selling them as livestock.
We could put that exemption, if you add the exemption for rabbits in agricultural circumstances, or, sorry, I'm not.
Well, that was in some of those.
Yeah, some of those,
Some already have it.
yeah, and dogs and cats are not sold for, I think it's actually federal law against selling rabbits. So having the for agricultural purposes added in addition to the rabbits would then, create that situation where it doesn't put the onus, doesn't put that into a criminal aspect of people who do buy rabbits for meat.
My concern is the enforcement of it. How difficult is it going to be to enforce it? If I had a rabbit and somebody came and said, you can't have this rabbit, and I'm going to say, we're going to eat it when it gets a little bigger.
This isn't ownership. Anybody can have a rabbit.
I think
It's the retail sale of them.
the ordinance would probably be enforced at the point of sale.
Yeah, not-
So it wouldn't, like, I don't think any of these ordinances would, a purchaser have any sort of liability. I think the liability would be the person who's selling or the company that's selling.
And most of these rabbits, there's, I haven't spoken up, to the management of the pet store that is selling them, but I would imagine there's relatively few rabbit suppliers. And so it's just a matter of asking them to not go back to your rabbit suppliers. When you have sold the rabbits you currently have in stock, you're just not going to be allowed to restock the rabbits. Just sever that relationship with the rabbit supplier.
The other thing is, and I know we asked animal control last time, and they said there was no issue. It was like 2 or 3, and they were adopting out pretty quick. We just had Easter.
We have 1 rabbit right now. And we've had, sometimes we have no rabbits, and sometimes we have 1. I don't think we've had 2 since I've been there. Al, you would know, have we ever had, the last year, have we had more than 1 rabbit?
Yeah, sometimes they do come in, people come in and say, hey, I got this rabbit that had babies. They said they didn't even know it could have babies. But, we've had someone come in more than 1. So,
Well, and
we have had.
unfortunately, I would imagine that rabbits
can
are much
spay
more likely to be
rabbits.
abandoned because I can speak from personal experience. These people will literally take the animal and just dump it into the middle of a neighborhood. And capturing a rabbit and getting a rabbit into, when we did have the rabbit situation, I didn't call animal services because that was not something that I would want to have burdened on animal services. I immediately reached out to, there's a local group called ORCA, ORCA. It's the Orlando Rabbit Care and Adoptions. So I knew to go find them and send them directly to the rescue groups. So a lot of times the rescue groups are the ones that are being overburdened and not necessarily animal services. So it's helping out these rescue groups. It's keeping them out of animal services hands, and animal services does a lot of times, and Al can speak to this, like you said, you send them out to rescue groups. These rescue groups are also getting burdened by the public. So having another avenue cut off from them. You had said you see
I
it on
have a
Facebook.
client that just took 2 rabbits from one of my clients, and she must have 24 rabbits in her place.
Yeah.
Coolest little rabbit rescue place I've ever seen in my life. All outside big cages. They got tunnels and everything. I've never seen anything like that. It's pretty cool.
Kathy, do y'all take rabbits?
No,
No, I didn't think so.
no, we're strictly dogs and cats.
I have a question. Do we
Well,
know how
and-
many, oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. And the Orlando Care Rabbit Orca, they do get overburdened, as Brian was saying. So they actually helped. We had the Azalea Park incident, what was that, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where somebody had a domestic and they let it out, and of course it multiplied. And then a team had to go in and get all these rabbits that weren't able to live outside and had to put them into rescue and care. And there was probably about 50 of them that they had to go out there and try to catch.
I think you're more worried about that. I personally see that being a bigger issue, just like all the Muskogee ducks all over the place. You go by a place and all of a sudden they're overloaded. You know, and it's non-invasive. I mean, you know, that's not a cottontail, so, I mean, you got these big, huge bunny, they're cute, but, I mean, it's definitely, I would see more people dumping them instead. And it's like, oh, let me just put them down in the woods, they'll be fine. You know, they'll live on their own, and then all of a sudden you got a bunch of rabbits, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the people have to get that rabbit from somewhere. And I think for so many people, and that was the whole reason why we had the ordinance passed.
And they're not
was
cheap. The
it's
pet
impulse
stores
buys.
sell them pretty good. I think they're like $150,
Wow.
$125. They're not cheap.
Yeah.
Now, if you buy them from a livestock, you know, breeder,
Yeah,
they're
you know,
like
you can buy them by the dollar.
$5 or something, you
Yeah,
know.
the feed stores have them,
Yeah.
and the baby chicken.
Yeah. Well, the current ordinance said that you can't sell the Florida
Well,
ordinance,
it's
said you can't sell an
exempt-
animal
it's exempt
around
from
under
it.
2 months of age. So, you know, theoretically, that would be-
Livestock is exempt from that.
Oh, livestock would be exempt from that, that's true, yeah.
It shouldn't be difficult to pass it because none of these county, how many rabbit meat farms are in this county? Probably none, zero. I never heard of
The commercial breeders and,
it. For meat, for consumption.
yeah.
Oh,
There's not many.
We have a few. We have a few in Simcoe in rural areas like Chiliota and
Yeah,
Geneva, stuff like that. But again, it's something now that is growing because it's cheap. I mean, you buy 2 rabbits and you get a lot of rabbits.
So
and
it's the meat of the future. It's healthy
Correct.
meat.
Yes.
They reproduce like rabbits, so,
Yeah.
I mean, you can feed a family with rabbits. I mean, the meat is good.
Right, but that would be separate from what a retail,
Yeah.
you know, they're not going into PetSmart or the pet.
Well, that's what I'm just saying. There has to be exemptions if that's where we're going. We can't just
Yeah.
put rabbits out there and say
Yeah,
the sale of
understood.
rabbits is prohibited because they are. So we have to have those
Right.
exemptions.
But the
Lauren,
fact that we're pushing the retail, you know, these pet stores to work with the rescuers
And
instead.
like they said, it's
Yeah.
always March and April, too. It's always like that Easter.
Easter, springtime.
Yeah, and then they give them up a month or 2 later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or chicks.
Lauren, how often is your group bringing in a pet rabbit, not a,
Probably not that often. I mean, I think if you had asked me 2 or 3 years ago, it would be frequently. But I think that has died down. We might bring in 1 to 2 every 6 months. Now that's out in the field. That's not people that come into the shelter, but out in the field where it's rare.
So I guess, is this something we want to pursue? Do we feel this is, I don't want to take time up from, Alan Harris having to write it up and having you have to write it up here as an addition to our ordinances. We have to, we do want to minimize the number of times that we have to go before the Board of County Commissioners to ask a revision. I do understand what you're saying about not having them frequently being dumped in the shelters, but I do believe they do frequently, more frequently will go directly to rescue groups because a lot of people would not consider animal services to be the dumping ground for rabbits. With the internet and Facebook and all the social media availability, the ability to find the rescue groups would be much more prevalent. And I'm sure y'all would prefer all of the animals find rescue groups before coming into the shelter, so y'all don't have to work with your memos of understanding with the various rescue groups. So I feel that the more of these animals go directly into rescue programs as opposed to going to animal services and then out into the rescue groups. So that was the reason why I was suggesting that, hey, I understand animal services doesn't get that overburdened. We don't want to see the rescue groups get overburdened. They can't take the animals. They're going to tell people, hey, I can't take them. And then, like you said, 2 or 3 years ago, this was a bigger problem. Things go in cycles. The last thing we want is another cycle to be started. And if we could be proactive, I would like to see our animal services be proactive.
I feel like I need more information about how big is the problem, who has the problem, because I agree with you. We don't want to go to the Alan Harris and everybody else too many times.
Sure.
We want to make sure it's important. And I remember when you were, many years ago, when people were working on the feral cats.
Sure.
And how they would come and give us facts and information. The rescue people would come and tell us, so we could eventually see how big the problem was. And this county did do something about it.
Yeah.
And I think the community cats are working really well.
Yeah.
So that's where I am. I just would like to have more information to see how big the problem is.
So primarily, what we'd asked for was legal support that says, yes, we can do this. So I think what has been accomplished is the idea that, yes, we can do this. If we provide an agricultural exception, then that will definitely make the rest, make the general public be more understanding of what we're trying to ban. It's not the consumption of the animals, it's the prevention of the impulse sale. And if we can have an agenda item then for the next meeting, we can request that the Orlando Rescue Care come and do a presentation for us.
That would be good.
I would
That would
suggest
You can just-
have them come and tell you what they
Yeah, have them come and tell us exactly what
So
they
I
do
can
and why they do it.
understand
And there's also another, I think there's another rescue group in the Orlando area that does rabbit rescue as well. So I will take that on as a responsibility to get all of the rabbit people together to come forward. And if we could have like the last 10 years of statistics gathered for how many rabbits have came in, so we can see if there is a trend, a cycle, or anything like that. I mean, I don't want to have y'all do, a bunch of, have to go dig out paper records or anything like that, but you also have, the last 10 years should be available online or on, in the database.
Yeah, I can get you those stats for the next meeting.
Okay.
Now, Chairman, if we're going to, so it sounds like what we're doing is we're going to kick this conversation to the next meeting while Animal Services does a little bit of research. And now, as for these outside groups that are going to come in, it might be best to have Animal Services reach out. I mean, certainly you guys can do whatever you want to on individually, but I think that we should, in addition to that, have Animal Services reach out and offer like a bit of a formal invite to say, hey, come and just make a presentation.
I'm fine with that. I had offered the service. I don't want to put my idea on something.
Certainly,
else.
everybody
Yeah.
can do that in their individual capacity as well. But the reason I bring that up is what groups?
So we do animal. There's
Orca for sure.
Orca for sure. Animal care. ORCA. Animal Rescue Care.
ORCA.
Which one's that?
That's a group.
Melissa Kranis runs a group too.
And
Yeah,
Melissa
that's-
Kranis runs.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, she's like Orlando Rabbit Rescue or Rabbit Rescue of Orlando.
I'm going to need the
I'll-
formal. Okay,
yeah.
you can just follow up with Lauren.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, we would know who to contact specifically.
So I guess then, I will make a motion that says that we will invite outside groups to make a presentation at the next meeting for our consideration to add this to the ordinance. Because we've gotten the information we asked for from legal services, and so we are going to go forward with this. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes. I will communicate with you on the groups to consult, and we'll get some people here for the September.
September.
And now, I think that would be more of a presentation than public comments at the end of the meeting. Do you agree with that, Mr.
Correct.
Shonko?
Correct.
So we give them like, what, 10, 15 minutes each,
15 minutes, 15
something
minutes
to
each,
make a
that'd be-
presentation?
yeah, plenty.
Is that okay with the board?
Yeah.
15 minutes per side to give a presentation? I mean, obviously, they're
some time.
invited, so giving 3 minutes at the end wouldn't really serve your purposes.
Yeah, definitely would like to give them,
And that'd be
make it
agenda
concise.
and all that kind of stuff, if they accepted.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Great, well, thank you.
If anybody comes up with any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them in the next meeting as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes our old business. On to new business, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
All right, new business. So we have finally completed our North Play Yard renovations. This is the before set of pictures, and we have some during. You can see that really cool membrane they put underneath the turf that helps everything drain through. We actually have 2 sprinklers that we left in that yard to irrigate it at night to wash the urine down. I mean, we obviously clean up the defecation part, but to wash the urine down every night. And then this is the final product.
Wow.
We got, it came out really, really nice. We've got a nice play set there, and we've we actually have a new bench coming. We've ordered new benches, so that bench will be reallocated somewhere else. But it came out really nice. And we try to use this yard a lot for the adoptions. You know, when people come in to adopt, we like to use this yard to show the dogs. And you should see this at some point real soon on social media and possibly a news clip. We're going to do a new release. We're filming tomorrow morning.
Nice.
So, and, you know, no promises, of course, but the plan is to, at some point, to renovate more yards in this manner.
Who donated the equipment, the play equipment?
So all of this was paid for with donations, but nobody donated the actual items. We actually bought where did the equipment come from, Denise? Do you remember?
Terrabound is who we ordered the play yard equipment through, and the bench through that, and Florida Synthetic Turf. Synthetic Turf
Yeah,
is the
Florida
one who
Synthetic
did
Turf.
the actual turf for us.
Nice. The refrigerator there keeps it all from getting pulled up and bundled up, so nice.
Just all dirt after, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's really nice. We want, like I said, we want to do some more of the yards this way. It's
Yeah.
really, really, really nice. So, moving on.
And-
That's it for new business.
Oh, is this the end of new business?
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments, questions, observations? Okay. And I'm sorry, I haven't, are there any comment forms of any form today?
No, we have
Okay.
no public comment
Okay.
period.
I know I skipped that in the last, in the old business, so sorry for violating the rules of engagement. All right, so events update. What do we got going on coming up?
So,
And the past?
past events we've done, we did in March, we did Adopt Your Good Luck Charm. I believe we got out, if I'm not mistaken, 35 cats and 61 dogs were adopted during that period of time.
Nice.
So, yeah, that was really, really productive. Pints and Paws is always a good time. I think we got 1 or 2 adoptions out of that, if I remember correctly. The Lake Mary Fire open house, we did a nice evening there with the Lake Mary Fire Department. And then we did the Citizens Academy, which we had about 100 people at the shelter. And I think some adoptions came the next day out of that as well. That was, entire emergency management was at that event. So it was a county event that they did at different locations throughout the county on different days for different divisions in the county, but that happened to be our day. We did a Mother's Day event where mothers, you know, if they adopted a dog or a cat, they got a free gift, nice little gift bag with some stuff in it. And that went very well. I think we got, if I remember correctly, we got several adoptions out of that as well. And we sponsored the adoptions that day, correct?
Yeah, there were 9 cats and 5 dogs that were
9
adopted at
cats
that
and 5
event.
dogs on that day, on May 10th. And then our senior grad adoption was a neat concept. Dogs above the age of 6 were sponsored in that event. And it had a media blast and everything that went with it. And we got 4 dogs adopted out of that event, which we've been doing really well with the adoptions from both the small events and the big events. So it's I like seeing them go, you know.
Yeah.
I like seeing them go that way. So then we have some upcoming events. We have a Father's Day event very similar to the Mother's Day event with a gift bag for the fathers with some stuff in it, some swag in it. And then we've got, at the end of the month, we've got a check the chip, and a vaccine clinic again. Our normal routine. How many people are registered already?
Currently, we have 80 people registered. That's individual people. That is not the number of animals. It's actually 80 individual people who have registered to have rabies vaccines at the next clinic.
80 individual people is going to be 140 animals probably, or 130 animals by the time we're done. So those events have been extremely successful. I think we've got it down to a science at this point. I think we've made some changes, and we've got quite a system going that works very quickly. No wait times anymore, hardly, no long lines, none of that kind of stuff. We've really moved along well with that. We're probably servicing, you know, On average, I'd say 75 people per event. I mean, some events are close to 100, and then the last event was a little lower, but this one is, we have more registered in this event than we will serve in the last event. So, so those are going along very well. And then we're doing a kitten shower as well, sponsoring kitten adoptions and bringing awareness to the need for foster services for kittens. And I believe during that, it hasn't been finalized yet, but I believe we have a specific donation list for the needs of the kittens because of the demand for the milk and the special food and all that kind of stuff. And we'll be accepting reasonable donations for a kitten. So if somebody brings a nice quantity of something in, we'll sponsor that adoption for the kitten for them as well.
Nice.
Any questions about events? Wait.
Go back.
Yeah, so this is near and dear to John's heart and mine. We both spent a lot of time on those boats. John more than me, but I've spent some time on them too. So we had a donation of pet life jackets. I believe they came from Petco, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they came from Petco. So we had some of them in the boutique up front, and they weren't really selling. And we had boxes of them. So I said, well, I got an idea, and so I called Sergeant Worthington, who's in the picture on the left right there, and I said, hey, I'm going to bring these over to you guys, and let's do some PR for both the sheriff's office and for animal services. And I think they handed out 10 of them in one day, and they have more throughout the summer, throughout the boating season. They'll continue to hand them out and document it with photos and stuff. It went over really well with the public. I mean, they really enjoyed it. It was.
Great. Have you reached out to FWC to see if they would be interested in doing that also, since they are also a major patroller of the waterways?
I think we spend more time out there than they do on that section of the river in Seminole County. FWC has a very small amount of people for a very large area, so they are spread very wide. And it's not that they're not out there, they're just not out there as frequently as we are. Every weekend in the summer is staffed on the water with the sheriff's office. So they're out there every weekend, all day Saturday, sometimes Friday evening, all day Sunday. So their exposure is much higher than FWC. Not that I wouldn't give them boxes of if they wanted them, I'd give them to them. But just from being in that side of the business, and John can kind of confirm, I think we spend a lot more time. Seminole spends a lot more time out there.
Okay. Well, great. That's great. Thank you guys for doing that. That's awesome. Take a problem and make it into a much more positive outreach opportunity. So
That's Sergeant Worthington on the right.
That's not him on the left in the back?
No, that's Jared on the
No, I
left.
can't. That's my eyes are getting old. Sorry. Yeah, Sergeant Worthington on the right. Okay, I thought he was on the other boat too. Sorry. I think that's it. There's statistics. If anybody would like to look or has any questions.
I have questions.
Okay.
On the stats that you're putting on the website, not these, but you
On
have
the
the graphic.
dashboard? On the dashboard?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I noticed in April that the cats were only a 70% live release rate. Was there a major reason for that it was so low?
I'll have to get back to you for an answer for that. I don't have an answer for that right this very minute.
Okay. My next question is, I noticed on the website that you're still putting dog breeds on the kennel cards. I know Orange County and Pet Alliance has stopped doing that years ago. So there's been a lot of success in not putting breeds on kennel cards to get people to adopt, like a meet your match is what the ASPCA, it's on their website and there's a link, getting people to adopt because the pet meets your lifestyle, that it doesn't matter what the pet is. And that we can't always guess breeds correctly if we're not actually DNA testing.
I feel that the position at this moment is the transparency to the public, who's our customer, for what our best assertion of what the animal is. I would love to DNA test everything that came through there so I could change things around that way. It's not feasible.
Which I'm not asking that.
No, but I
That
would love
was
it.
just
Trust me,
making
I would
a
love
point.
it.
It was making a point that we're not going to do that So we're just guessing a lot of the time.
So our cage cards do clearly mark on there that that we are doing a best guess by the appearance of the animal, that there is no DNA testing, and we cannot guarantee what the breed of the animal is. Adopters are always given the option that they can go back to their vet for a more determined breed if they would prefer to do it that way. The problem that we were seeing when we were just using the term mix, because we did experiment with it for a little while, was we were seeing a very large quantity of animals being returned back to us because the apartment complexes were then classifying the animals as with their own breed. So if they determined that they thought the animal was, say, a bully breed, and it didn't match their criteria to keep it in the apartment complex, they would then make the adopter return it back to us. So instead of having an animal go out as just a standard mixed breed and then being brought back a week or two later because the apartment or the landlord stated it was a bully breed, this is giving that adopter that upfront to be able to discuss it with their landlord, whether or not they could have that breed.
Okay, thank you. Community TNVR. So how, I saw the numbers, how, just trying to get an update on how that's rolling, like how many cats coming in daily and how we're deciding what's getting TNVR'd. And are you doing it in-house now? You're doing your own TNR, and are the officers returning the cats?
Correct.
Okay.
So currently this year, if you'll see on the stats, we've done, just through our facility here at the shelter, we've done 169 cats as of the end of the end of May. We did 169 cats that qualified as TNVR cats, because unfortunately, not every cat that comes into the shelter qualifies under the ordinance.
Okay.
Can I ask the question about who is it that guesses the breed? Is it the kennel staff, or is it the vet? Who actually guesses the breed?
They do it together. I mean, the kennel staff and the vet. If the vet sees something that she feels is incorrect, she'll correct it.
Okay.
But it's reviewed by not only the kennel staff. I mean, even sometimes Denise and them up front will make a correction.
Okay.
You know, the depth of tenure there in some of the positions. I mean, Denise, for example, Al, for example, Lauren, they're pretty good at what they do. I mean, and so, but sometimes they talk about it, correct each other. I mean, you know,
Right.
it gets, you know, there's sometimes there's changes, you know, if we feel like it's off.
Okay, and I'm asking because I do pull a lot of dogs from there, and I've
Yeah.
gotten several that, at least I feel, have not been. Even one yesterday, it said a German Shepherd, but it was a Dutch Shepherd. So and it's a slight difference, but
How long had that dog been there, Tracy? I can't remember. It hadn't been there very long, had it?
a week
Yeah.
or so, maybe the little aggressive 4-month-old one, 5-month-old one. That was
Yeah.
definitely a Dutchie.
And you know, it's funny, when that dog was on the operating table, I was actually in there, and I think it was on, I think that, yeah, they had that dog in medical. I'm almost sure they did. Yeah, I was in there, and it's Brindle, right?
It's Brindle.
It's Brindle, correct. And the doctor said, she goes, this isn't a German, this is a Dutch, and we talked about it, so.
Okay.
It's, you know, we catch it, we usually catch it when
Okay.
you got it before it ever went back in the kennel. I mean, it wasn't long. It was
Yeah,
there a
I
day,
think
right?
she just got fixed yesterday.
Right, it was there a
And
day
figure out,
before,
yes,
so
yeah.
that would have been corrected. I mean, from time to time, we do have to fix.
Okay.
We do have to fix stuff,
Okay.
you know.
Would
The
you
bullies are-
welcome constructive criticism if I'm back there and see something on a card and say, hey, this is
Yeah,
probably
absolutely.
not right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And sometimes when the volume of stuff is coming in, depending on what day it is, like if it comes in on a Saturday and it's busy, you know, sometimes if the kennel staff takes it in, they might misname something. I mean, some of the kennel staff are very new, you know, they're very new. So
Yeah.
we do review it though.
Okay.
We do review it. I like stuff to be correct. The bully breeds are tough. They're the
They
ones that
are.
are tough. And I actually have a project I'm working on, and our new intern is actually going to help me with it, trying to do a little better with identifying the bully the bully breeds, but so many of them are mixed now, it's very
There are a lot of
difficult.
mixes, and a lot of them will look like bully breeds, but we have something at Spay and Save too. It says, can you guess the bully breed? And all of these 12 dogs have actually had DNA tests done on them.
Right.
And I know you can't do that, but, and most of them have 0 pit bull in them. But they have been deemed pit bull.
But they have American Bulldog, or they had Staffordshire, or they have other Bulldog breeds.
That I don't know. It says the actual, like, mix of them underneath, you
Yeah.
know, like lab and
Yeah.
boxer
I
or
think
something.
I have some
you know,
else.
so-
It's hard to find pure
Yeah.
in that line these days, you know, in
Yeah.
a public shelter situation, it's hard
Right,
to
no,
find pure.
yeah.
So, but I do want to get better at, if we can say it's an American Bulldog versus a pit bull, you
Right.
know, I do want to get better at, and I've noticed, since I've been there and we've discussed it amongst ourselves, I've noticed we have done a little better with the trying to identify what bully breed it is.
And the quote, American bully, that is the popular, you know, short, stout, and
Right.
it comes in all different sizes.
Right.
You know, they mostly have English Bulldog,
Right.
French Bulldog,
Right.
and English Staffordshire Bull Terrier,
Right.
which are not pit bulls. They're a bully breed, but they're not the,
Unfortunately, though, most insurance companies and apartment
know, and
complexes
it's-
still are not allowing
Yeah.
those dogs
Yeah,
either.
that we have to,
Homeowners.
that we have to work on.
Yeah, homeowners insurance, all of it. I mean, it's
That has to change.
very unfortunate.
most of the short stack bullies have more English Bulldog in them than anything else.
Right.
But, okay.
Just one more question. On the euthanasias, like, for your fiscal year 23-24, you had youth aggressive, youth ill-injured, and then I noticed you took that off for the 24-25 statistics. So, like, ill and injured, are we ever reaching out to rescues to help with those, so they don't have to get euthanized?
It would depend on the level of injury.
Okay.
I mean, we you know, we'll go as far as to do amputations to save an animal. There are many things we do medically to try to save the animal. It just depends on how severe,
Right.
you know, how severe it is. I mean, it's not, we don't have, I mean, we do have the isolation kennels, you know, to keep the sick and injured animals in. It's just not to the level that a private, you know, facility can care for them if they're severe medical issues.
Yeah, understood. Well, and then on the aggressive side, I mean, that's where your TNR really comes into play. I mean, if cats are coming in and they're just deemed not adoptable, TNR and put them back in their neighborhood. I mean,
If it's an outside cat.
so are a lot of those deemed, were those as indoor-only cats?
Most of those are the owner surrenders that come in and tell us that they're, you know, they surrender them to us, they're indoor cats. Of course, we can't release the owner surrender cats, of course, because take them back to the same place they surrendered them from.
Right.
And if they're indoor cats, normally we don't, especially if they're friendly, we won't return them at all. But I know you said that they're aggressive. If they're aggressive, like I said again, we normally been trying to work on like barn cats and stuff like that, but as far as, but unfortunately, we can't return those cats because of that reason. That's normally the only way we're gonna know if they're indoor cats, if they're really owner surrender cats. So,
The TNR is very specific about
Right.
which animals we can do that with. So, and we kind of revived the barn cat program and are going to do a media thing on it as well, or at least socials with it. We sent out week before last to somebody in Geneva that was looking for barn cats. I believe we've got another one going out, or we have another one going out, Al. We talked about it today. Maybe two. So we're taking the less friendly domestic cats and
Yeah.
doing that with them.
We do it too, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
so.
perfect. And is the county still providing any funding to spay and save at all, or has that ended?
That's been gone for a while. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns about the reports? Since there were no other comments on any non-agenda items, everyone okay with September 11th as our follow-up meeting?
Your day, oh, it's Thursday. It's been a week.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, motion.
Second? All in favor? Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you all.